guys, my name is Megan and today I've got my favorite and my least favorite books of 2019 for you. Alright, so you may notice I only have one stack of books here. That is because the books that are all of my least favorite books for this year, I actually got rid of in my unhaul video, which I can link above for you if you guys want to check that out. We're actually going to start with the books that were my least favorite. This year I ended up DNFing quite a few books just because I didn't like them and because, you know, there was a whole slew of different reasons. But this year I had a lot of books that were like my least favorites. We're gonna work our way to the one that I liked the least. So my first least favorite book was Demons of the Ocean. So this one I got at a library book sale, I think, and I picked it up on a whim because, you know, vampires, pirates, vampirates. I thought it would have been the perfect book for me. Turns out it was not. That one I think got a 2.5 out of 5 stars, and I DNF'd that one. Actually, you know what? All of the books that are on my least favorite, I ended up DNFing. My next least favorite was Seafire, and I love the world of that book. And I wish I could have read a story set in that world of anybody other than the characters that it was about. That one also got a 2.5 out of 5 stars. My next least favorite was Shadow of the Fox. My feelings on that one were kind of similar as my feelings for Seafire. I really love the world. I wish the story had been about anybody except for the main character because that main character was whiny and naive and just My next least favorite was Nightlife. That one, I really liked the world. I didn't like the characters. The characters felt like they were trying too hard. It felt like the author was trying way too hard to be kind of a badass when this character I don't think really needed that. I think it needed to be treated some other way than the way that that book was treated. That one also got a 2 stars. The next book that was on my least favorite list was Street Magic. This one, the author tried way too hard, and the author for this book is actually the same as the author for Nightlife, and I've kind of realized her books are just not for me. That one got a 1 star. And then the most disappointing book that I've read this year, and the book that I liked the least, was Souljacker. This one was so disappointing. I love Yasmin Gilmore's work. She's one of my favorite authors, but this book was not her best work. This one felt unfinished. It felt like a rough draft of a book that got published on accident. The characters were like 2-dimensional. It just did not work for me at all. And that one, the more I think about it, I gave it a generous 2 stars, but the more I think about it, the more I want to just move that down to like a 1/2 star. It was by far the most disappointing book that I've read this year. But you know what? We're gonna move on to my favorite books from this year, which all happen to be in this pile. We're just gonna work our way up to my absolute favorites. So the first one in my favorite books of this year is Dread Nation. This is one of my favorite zombie books. This is like the zombie book that I never knew I needed in my life. Our main character Jean is so amazing, and she is a total badass zombie hunter. And this is set just after the Civil War, and it's the historical fiction alternative history book that I never knew I needed, and it's amazing. I should just go ahead and say this. All the books in this pile were 5-star reads for me. So the next book in this little pile of my favorites is The Tea Dragon Society. This is a copy that I got from Owlcrate. I love this book so much. It's so cute. The art style is amazing, and there we go. It's colorful and it's so blush and beautiful. It's also got some really great disability rep. It's an LGBTQ rep. It's just beautiful, and I love these little tea dragons. They are just adorable, and I think somebody else said that they reminded them of Pokemon, and the more I think about this book, the more I think that they do remind me of Pokemon as well. They're just cute little dragons, and this book actually set me off on a graphic novel buying binge. So the next book in this little pile is Intensity. This is the last book in the Chronicles of Nyx series. So this one, I know a lot of people were disappointed with how this ended, but I love it just because it gives me a place to jump into Sherilyn Kenyon's adult novels that are set within the same universe using the same character for some of them. And I also really loved that this edition had like artwork in it, and I just love Nick and his gang of friends. They are just like an absolute riot of fun, and this one is such an awesome book, and it's an awesome series, and this is a good way to end the series. The next book in my favorites pile for this year is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. This book was beautiful, and the writing in it was so good, and I just love these characters to pieces. This book is just simply amazing, and I'm gonna leave it at that. The next book that was one of my absolute favorites from this year is Vicious, and I don't know why it's taken me so long to read this book because this book is fantastic. Victor is one of my favorite characters of all time now, and I love him, and I love Sydney, and I love Mitch, and even though I didn't really like Eli, he is like one of my favorite villain characters of all time because of the way that Victoria writes her books and her characters, and this book was just so good. Okay, so the last two books in this pile come as a set, and I would not separate them, and they both actually earned 5 stars from me, and that is Wolfsong and Ravensong. They are some of my favorite books that I've read this year. They are about a werewolf pack, and almost nobody in this werewolf pack is straight. There's very few straight characters in this, and there's all sorts of LGBTQ representation in this, and there's werewolves and like witches, and honestly, how could these not end up being my favorite books from the year? I fell in love with TJ Klune's writing, and he's probably my favorite author that I've read this year. Like, hands down, favorite new author of the year, and I cannot wait to get my hands on more of his book and to see more of his writing style and more of his like worlds. These books are fantastic. If you haven't read them, please give them a shot. They're so good. All right, so those were some of my favorite and my least favorite books from this year. What was your favorite book of the year? What was your least favorite? Let me know down below. If you guys like this video, don't forget to hit the like button. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. You can also hit the notification button, and if you'd like to follow me on social media, check out the links down below. Alrighty, bye guys.